Okay, so welcome to the Cascade Stereoscopic Club June meeting. Thanks for taking the time to attend, and especially those who shared photos. And we are streaming live to YouTube as we've done for the past few meetings. A couple of caveats is that there is a delay of about 20 to 25 seconds, and that causes a problem with echo. So if you're in the meeting live, you probably want to use the audio from Zoom rather than the audio from the YouTube live stream. However, if you go back and watch the meeting after it occurs, the live stream works well. And the live stream works well on the Lume Pad. So anyway, let me just get started here. The theme this evening is old buildings, and then open projector show and tell. And then we're going to select images for the code folio 34. And I'm going to be trying something new tonight to make it easier to log in to the voting. Because I have a QR code that if you scan it, it should get you all logged in. Of course, you know, like anything new, subject to bugs. So, let's see, welcome Jasmine, welcome Steve, so anyway, getting started. The first images are from David, and I'll let David talk about them.
Well, that's a quick introduction. No. That's the oldest buildings I could find. That's down on Route 66 in Nevada someplace.
Wow.
Arizona. Those are the oldest buildings I could find.
Wow.
And there's some old, that's in southern Utah. You've probably seen that one, but that's another old building. That was by Indian Spring Mine. And that, I think, is where my grandmother lived, in Pinedale, Wyoming. That's up the middle of Wyoming. And anyway, I just had that from a family image, and I think my grandma lived there.
Okay, so was it 3D, or did you convert it?
No, that picture is only 20 years old, so
Okay.
I took it 3D.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure that's where she lived.
Okay.
And I don't know anything about that building except it's on the Willamette River, and back in 1999, we drove by there and I stopped and took a picture of it.
Yeah, that's
striking building.
It's a what?
Striking. I've seen.
Right. I think I've heard what it was, but yeah, it was an old like telephone company headquarters or something.
I had to remove a bunch of the telephone wires. If you look real close, you can see where they used to be.
It was a gas company building. It's not there anymore.
Gas. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And we took a tour with, I don't know, somebody arranged a tour to that's by the Dalles, down towards the Dalles. Just a bunkhouse for the cowboys. And that was called a chicken coop, the same place. It was it wasn't abandoned, but it was pretty run down. That's someplace in Utah. I don't know where it is, but I just thought it was an interesting old watermill. That's south of Portland. I don't know if it's a flying service or they're just advertising.
Flying A, I think. That used to be a gas station.
Yeah, that's why I said that's probably a gas station, not an airport.
Hmm.
And that's right there by by Costco in Beaverton, and I just love that fallen down old building. I don't know what's there now. That's not there anymore. That's the same place as that other house. That was I called it a holy shed, and the reason I call it a holy shed is when you go inside, there's probably 1,000 bullets all through the roof and everywhere. Anyway, that's up on the road, the old road that goes up, used to go east on the coast, and running down the building. And that was a real interesting story. I saw that picture several times, and I just decided I had to have a 3D picture of it. And when I was taking a picture, somebody walked up and he says, "Is that your building?" And I said, "No." He says, "We hate it. We're going to get rid of it." And it's still like that after 10, 15 years.
Like that?
Well, they built the walls clear to the ground, but it's still unoccupied and boarded up.
Wow.
That's an old building. And here's my favorite one of the things. Who needs a door when you're out in the wilderness? The most important thing is there's a can there to keep the toilet paper dry.
You don't want to get slowed down by a door.
Anyway, that was Southern Oregon.
Yeah, and I guess if you're out there, you don't need to wear clothes because who wants to be slowed down by dropping your trousers? Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, that's all, folks.
Yeah, interesting.
Okay, thanks, David. And Carl.
Okay, here we go. Yeah, Pedok Mansion. As I'm trying the hyperreal thing.
Yeah, it looks good.
So what camera did you use?
This one's just two iPhones, and I stepped, I think twice to the right.
Okay.
Yeah, the hardest thing was not getting anybody in the picture because there were a lot of people moving around there. It was built in 1914, or finished in 1914. And then
It's really good spacing.
Thanks. Yeah. This is Witch's Castle. That's the kind of the colloquial nickname around here.
Where is it?
It's in Forest Park. It's about a mile hike in, and it used to be a lot spookier before all the graffiti. But I think the local one of the high schools go there and have parties and then paint it up. But you'll notice like the graffiti. There's less just like name tagging and more just kind of art, which is.
Yeah, I've been up there a few times and I never saw graffiti like that at all.
Yeah. I haven't been up there for maybe 20 years, and before it looked all just like spooky old structure. And I looked into it. This one was built in 1937.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then abandoned in the 60s. And this is the chalet at Oregon Caves National Monument. From inside the cave, looking out the entrance of the cave. And I took a lot of pictures of that thing, but it's kind of really nestled in there, and it's kind of hard to get a good photo.
Yeah, well, actually, I think Ron Kriesel, I don't think you've ever met him, was able to get a good photo by getting close and taking multiple photos and stitching them together.
Yeah, it's like 4 stories high.
Yeah, so you can't, if you're far, there's things in the way, but if you're close, you can't get the whole thing in the shot.
Yeah. And this is Fort Vancouver, over on the Washington side of the Columbia River. Yeah, this is interesting because it was built, originally it was built like in the 1820s, 1825 or 1829, something like that. And then it would burn down, and then they, like after 20 years or I don't know. Anyway, they rebuilt it in the 60s on the exact footprint of the location
Right.
where it was. But it's kind of interesting because it was a British thing, like Hudson Bay Company out of London, and it was back when there's this like 20-year period when America and Britain kind of had the Oregon Territory area kind of like under a treaty, and it wasn't quite clear where the where the international boundary was going to
Yeah.
be. So they built it on the north side of the Columbia River, thinking that that's where the international boundary would be. But
Oh.
about the same time this was built, Oregon City was started, you know, and eventually over time, the way it worked out was they had to move it back up to like Vancouver, British Columbia, up there. So anyway, it's an interesting little history tour if you go over there and check it out. This is also a kind of a cha-cha with the iPhone. Yeah.
So that works well.
Yeah, it's okay. There's like one. Yeah, I was kind of facing into the sun, and I was trying to block the lens of the phone with my hand, and I got it. I kind of didn't get it on the right lens, so you can see in the middle there. There's a little.
Oh, lens flare.
Yeah, a little lens flare. Yeah.
And Ken, thanks, Carl.
Yeah.
Okay, bear with me for a little bit. This is Midway Village in Rockford, Illinois. It's a few miles and a few hundred plus years from modern downtown Rockford. It's 137 acres of yesterday. The village contains 26 buildings, all dating from between 1830, which was the year Rockford, which was originally called Midway because it was halfway between Chicago and Galena, was founded, and 1904. Most are authentic buildings moved to the village site, and 6 are reproductions, differing only in scale from the original building. The oldest building in the village dates to 1840. This in the foreground is the Marsh House, which was built in 1850 and was moved to the location in 1989. And it's a representative of the houses that were around shortly before the Civil War. And this one is the Ralston House. It was built in 1905, and it shows the Victorian influence. It's decorated inside to show the lifestyle of prosperous villagers, and the downstairs is a showcase for those things. This one is the Pepper House. It was built between 1875 and 1890. It was moved in 1989. Per the ghostresearch.org, this is a haunted house. So they spent the night there and they got evidence of ghosts. So they say.
Skeptic.
And this is the Rockford Hospital, the city's first hospital, opened in 1855 in a made-over home. It was built because of a young boy suffered a serious injury and he passed away, and the villagers thought, if only he had medical attention sooner. So they took someone donated the house, and they made it into the hospital, first hospital. And this is the Chamberlain Hotel. It's a replica. It's a railroad hotel from around 1858. And it was originally a lot like a boarding house in that they served meals as well as provided lodging.
So what makes something a railroad hotel? Is it just that it's near a railroad, or?
So it's generally meant to serve employees and customers of the railroad.
Oh, okay, got it.
Like if you live at one end of the railroad and you're a conductor or something and you're on the train and you end up at the other end of the line, you have to have somewhere to stay. So
Got it.
they had the railroad hotels, and they would serve the meals The meals were there for the employees, but they would also serve them to the other guests. There were a lot of hotels that were associated with railroads or maritime hotels, and they all had that same feature where they would feed the employees, feed the sailors, feed the railroad workers.
Okay, I learned something.
Thanks, Steve.
Ken, are you from Illinois?
Yes. I live just south of Rockford, which is about 90 miles west of Chicago.
Yeah. I'm from the Quad Cities.
Oh, okay.
So.
Been there?
Yeah.
Bedford? Yeah.
Yeah. Just wanted to say.
Okay, this one is the Register Gazette. It was published from 1863 to 1930. Rockford at the time had less than 15,000 people, but it supported 2 daily papers, 4 weekly papers, and a paper in Swedish and another paper in Italian, which were the predominant immigrant families of the time. This is the Carlson Russ General Store around 1900, reminiscent of the ones run by Abraham Lincoln in New Salem before his political career took off. And here's another must-have in every turn of the century town was the Esther Holmes blacksmith, built in 1900. It's still used today by blacksmiths in the area. They can come in and fire up the forge and do their thing. Very interesting.
Okay, thanks, Ken and Peter. You're muted, Peter.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Peter.
Hi. So all of my stuff is conversions from the Toronto Archives historical area. So these are buildings in Toronto, and that movie theater is still there, but they don't have the big sign anymore.
So were these all done with the new Leia picks?
Partially. I never get all the way with them. I have to fix them up a lot. I did a lot of telephone wire removal. As you can see along the bell-sized sign, there's a bunch of strands of wire I didn't bother to clean up. But the whole sky is full of telephone wires, which are awkward for 3D conversion. So I just wipe them out of the sky. And the year of that is 1942 because of the movie that's on there.
Yeah.
Okay,
right.
yes.
This is one of the oldest pictures of Toronto. And there's a flat iron, a different one that's at that corner still to this day. And it's looking toward downtown where all high-rise buildings are now. But I like the carriages on the street, and it's quite a nice image to convert, I thought.
Yeah, it worked well.
And this was behind the arch is the Parliament buildings of Ontario. And this is one of the main thoroughfares, and this arch was built to commemorate the visit of the Prince of Wales in 1902. So they built arches around the city to commemorate his visit. It was torn down, of course, long ago. And this theater is still there too. Its facade is the same, but they put condos in behind it. So, and that was taken in 1948. So often the facades of these theaters are kept around without the contents inside or anything available.
Okay, Thanks, Peter.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice, Peter.
And so, basically, this, let's see, this is the Henry Sensel building on Hawthorne Boulevard in Portland, built in 1909. And this is the Baghdad Theater, also on Hawthorne Boulevard, built in 1927. And this is the Thaddeus Fisher House on Southeast 33rd Avenue, but almost all the way up at Burnside Street, built in 1892. And it's the same road that I live on, but it's not contiguous. It's broken into little pieces, but the same. So there was also 33rd Avenue. And this is the W.S. Salmon House on Southeast 13th Avenue, built in 1890.
How did you find those dates?
So actually I cheated. I went to the National Register of Historic Places and searched for things in Portland that are on the Register of Historic Places, and I pulled out the address and the year built and the name, and then just went around and took pictures.
Nice.
So it's one way to find your subject matter. And so,
I don't think that's cheating, that's research.
okay. Yes, I didn't cheat, I did research. Just like I had to do when I was a student back in school. So this is the Rachel Lewis Hawthorne House on Southeast 12th Avenue, built in 1892. And this is the Herman Vetter House on Southeast Taylor Street, built in 1890.
So all these pictures were taken very recently?
No, actually they were taken a while ago because we had a similar theme, I don't know, about 10 years ago. You caught me.
Yeah.
But this is the Palestine Lodge on Foster Road, built in 1926. Yeah, our theme was older than 1930. That was a theme we had.
Yeah, we did that.
And so basically I went around looking for anything before 1930.
Yeah. That's visible along Holgate?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's where Foster and Holgate cross.
Right.
And so all of those were in Portland, but the next one is in Gold Hill, Oregon. It's the Oregon Vortex House of Mystery, which is a tourist trap. So and basically this was built in 1904, and it evidently slid down, the hill. There was a landslide, so that's why it's all off kilter. And basically the story they tell is that there's mysterious forces there, and it is pretty strange because my wife and I visited, and basically you can go inside and feel like you're standing up, but take a picture and the picture clearly shows you're not standing up straight, or at least the optical illusion seems to indicate you're not standing up straight.
Yeah, we've been there, and I always thought it was all fake, but it was caused by a landslide. Is that true?
That's my understanding. That they didn't build it that way. It was that there was a landslide, which basically caused it to tilt, and so whether or not it's fake or not, I don't know. I mean, they invite you to bring in any cameras or any scientific instruments that you wish, and so I brought a level and a camera, and I don't know how to explain the appearance and behavior in there, but in any case, I guess that's what they want you to do. I mean, even if you conclude that it's fake, you've still paid your money to get in. So, okay. And Julene wanted to contribute some images, and these are all from her hometown, which is Dayton, Oregon. And this is a military blockhouse that was built at the Grand Ronde Agency by Willamette Valley settlers in 1856. And U.S. troops were sent to the station the same year. It was named Fort Yamhill. And among the famous Army officers, and I'm just reading what the signs say, even though the light makes it difficult to read. I'm cheating because I know what the signs say. So famous Army officers stationed at this fort were Sheridan, Wheeler, A.J. Smith, D.A. Russell, and Hazen. So that's the sign on the left. The sign on the right, by permission of the U.S. government, Fort Yamhill was moved from Grand Ronde Agency to Dayton in 1911 through efforts of John G. Lewis, a patriotic citizen. The structure was rebuilt on this spot as a memorial to General Joel Palmer, a pioneer Oregon, superintendent of Indian Affairs, founder of Dayton, and donor of this park. And it's really weird because it's the bottom half of the house is either square or rectangular along one axis, and then the top of the house is square or rectangular along an axis that's 45 degrees to it. So I mean the corners of the top are like in the middle of the bottom, and the corners of the bottom are like in the middle of the top. So I don't know why they built it that way. And so anyway,
Looks like a jail to me.
that would be my guess.
A blockhouse is a military bunker. It can be used for a jail.
Okay, and so this is the Joel Palmer house, and so from the website. So right now, this is a restaurant. So from the website of the restaurant, Joel Palmer from 1810 to 1881 was one of Oregon's preeminent pioneers and early statesmen, and the co-founder of the town of Dayton. He left Indiana in 1845, leading one of 3 wagon trains headed for Oregon, and completed the arduous journey again the following year to escort his wife and children west to their new home. After co-founding the town of Dayton in 1848, Palmer built a house for himself and his family there in 1857, and that's the Joel Palmer House restaurant is now in this location. And I guess that restaurant is fairly famous. They serve a lot of exotic mushroom dishes. The chef, specializes in mushrooms and will, use mushrooms in much of his cooking.
Cool.
And and we've never eaten there, even though my wife's parents live probably half a mile from there. And this is the sign for the restaurant. And Steve.
All right. I'm going to go quick because I'm pretty sure I sent you too many images. This is from Chicago inside the cultural center that used to be the downtown library. And that was built in the 1800s. Here's another shot inside the building. And this is the Federal Plaza, and the building in the background with the gray stone, that's the old Chicago City Hall that was famously in the Blues Brothers movie.
Oh, right.
So
That's
this is
also a famous statue there too, a Picasso, I think.
no, that's Calder's Flamingo. The Picasso's on the other side of the building.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So this is a 1920s subway entrance, but the building on the left is very famous. It's Chicago's first iron skyscraper. It's the Monadnock building. And this is in Amsterdam, and that's the oldest church in Amsterdam. There, it's from the 1500s, I believe. This is another angle of it. And this is from The Hague. This is a place called the Boterbach, which is where farmers would bring their butter to be weighed and distributed and sold and taxed. And this is a blue heron in the courtyard of my father's building, which is not necessarily a very old building, but a building for old people.
Fits.
So this is the Hellport at Legacy Emmanuel and Randall Children's Hospital. And the old part is on the right, the old part of Legacy. On the right in the middle. And this is a little free little library made from old building materials. Here's some old shoes. This is the juxtaposition again. It's a rooftop from the 1700s with a skyscraper from the 2000s.
Where is this located?
In The Hague, Den Haag, Netherlands.
So, because the reason I asked is, this fashion of hanging shoes from wires, did it originate in the U.S. or did it originate overseas? Who copied who?
I really have no idea. It's kind of universal as far as I can tell.
Yeah, so
If there weren't wires, there would be shoes in the trees.
yeah. Somebody must have come up with the idea first. So, anyway.
There are many rumors and theories. No one knows for sure.
Okay.
And this is a used camera store in Amsterdam, where you can buy old camera gear. And the building itself is, I believe, from the 1700s. And this one you can see the St. Nicholas Kirk, which is again from the 1700s in Amsterdam. And this is a new building made to look like an old building. It's the Zen Temple in Portland, east side. And this is one of my favorite shops in The Hague. This building is from the early 1900s. And these are probably the most famous buildings in Amsterdam, the famous dancing houses. And this is the oldest canal in Amsterdam. These houses are from the 15 and 1600s.
Oh my gosh.
And
Did you live there at one time, or were you visiting?
My father lives in the Netherlands, so I go there with some regularity, not as much as I'd like.
And why are they called the dancing houses?
Because of the way they look, where they're off kilter, they don't stand straight. They lean up against each other.
Okay.
And also because the way the reflections look, sometimes when the water is moving, the houses, it looks like the houses are dancing.
Okay, thanks.
But they're one of the most photographed things in Amsterdam. So this is probably the oldest building I have. This is from the 1300s. And it's a windmill outside of The Hague. And this is what you see after you've been inside the coffee shop. You notice these reflections in the window. More 17th and 18th century houses. And this is the nightclubs on Rembrandtplein, which most of them were not there when Rembrandt was around, but the square is named after him. And this is the Sandy Jug in East Portland.
Yeah.
On old Highway 30, which used to be the main tourist highway into town. And back in the 30s, they built a lot, and 40s, they built a lot of anthropomorphic and stylized architecture. And this is one of them that's still standing.
I went there last week. They've redone it, and it's really nice inside. It's a really nice bar, and you can just sit and drink inside of that jug now.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's cute.
Huh. Didn't that used to be a strip club? I mean, does anybody know?
Yes,
I think it used to be, yeah.
It was a strip club. When this was taken, it was a strip club.
Okay.
Pirate themed.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
perhaps. Yeah.
And so Mark, I don't think is here, but I guess we'll see what he sent in. And I don't have any particular explanations of any of these, but I guess lighthouses have been around for, long time, so,
Oregon Coast would be my guess.
yeah.
It's got to be old.
Yeah, abandoned gas station, I'm guessing. Auto garage. I don't know where that. Oh, that's in Astoria, I think.
Oh, okay.
I think that's Astoria.
Could be anywhere, huh?
See the mountain in the background. Yeah, don't know. It almost looks like it could be Cascade Locks. Just taking a guess.
Mountains look like that, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is probably because Mark talked about that quarry, that abandoned quarry that he,
That concrete factory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be anywhere.
Like it used to be a gas station.
Yeah, I would guess. It'd be my guess.
Yep, it's an old roof. Okay, and then Matt sent in some photos for open projector.
Evening all. Yeah, Herb, if you just want to go through these, put each one 4 or 5 seconds on the screen.
Okay.
I'll just talk over these. I made these stereo photos last month at Lava Beds National Monument in Tule Lake, California, which is right at the California-Oregon border.
Oh.
I visited the monument with stereo camera for the first time in 2010, and I've returned several times since then. The lava beds are an unforgiving volcanic landscape with mazes of underground lava tubes. many are large enough to crawl or walk through, and quite a few are mapped, and some have even been developed with paths. Until the 19th century, the land was inhabited by the indigenous Modoc people and was the site of the last Indian War in the 1870s. The lava tubes themselves are otherworldly geologic structures that run parallel to the surface and are punctuated with skylights. The lava tubes and volcanic landscape are excellent subjects for stereophotography. I'll be going back next spring, and I encourage everyone to explore this overlooked national park with your stereo cameras.
The last one, how did you like that? It seems
Petroglyphs.
That's
go back one.
I think that's what makes these caves so marvelous to photograph. They have these skylights, so you do get, there are pitch black areas, but you also get areas where there's natural light streaming through. And I think you're referring to the last one. There's sort of like a column of light. I didn't actually see that when I photographed it. I knew that light would be fleeting. I think there was actually just probably some grease or something on my UV filter that sort of enhanced that shaft of light. And I didn't touch it. I left it as is. That was a very happy accident.
There you go. Yeah.
That's it right there, yeah. And one thing I'll add about these is that the light doesn't last for long. So,
were those petroglyphs? Did you take pictures? Was that a petroglyph, like a Native American drawing on the wall?
It was, yeah. There are lots of petroglyphs, lots of, history from ancient times, and that's just some that are easily seen.
Yeah, there's a place like that in Idaho called the Craters of the Moon, and it's just like this.
It's an incredible landscape. I can't get enough of it. And it's such a great subject for stereo. So thank you.
And Carl.
Yeah, so open projector. This is kind of bleeding over from the old buildings. I kind of like Herb. I did some research and kind of ended up going down this rabbit hole for a little while. But I Googled what's the oldest oldest residence in house. What's the oldest house in Portland? And there is some contention over which one, but this might be the second oldest house in Portland. It's on 12th Avenue, kind of near Hawthorne. It's near Stevens Street, and this is called the Stevens House. And it was built in 1864, and it was moved here in 1902 from its original location, which was down on the Willamette River. And the man, Stephen, that built it and owned it also owned a lot of land around there, but he ran a ferry across the river. And one of the things I did for research was I was thinking, Portland, it's been here a long time. It's a city. It's probably had some stereo photographers in the past. So I looked up at the Oregon Historical Society, and sure enough, there was a man, and you all probably know this, I don't know, but there was this man, a photographer named Watkins from San Francisco, who came up here in 1867 and took photos of Portland and the Dalles. And so, sure enough, the house was in the distance on one of his photos. And I tried to, make an MPO file out of it. Now, he did this panorama. He did lots of panoramas. But, stereo photos, panoramas that don't really, there's not much depth after about, 30 feet or so. Yeah, can you do the next one? Oh, no, it didn't. Did it not arrive on there?
Well, this is the next one.
Okay.
Maybe it's out of order.
Maybe it's out of order. Okay. or maybe it's not on there at all. But there is a photo that has that house in the background that was taken in 1867, 3 years after the house was built.
Okay.
But it wasn't really very
Yeah,
much
I don't
3D.
think I saw that.
Oh, okay. Well, oh well.
Okay.
Was it a stereo photo that you discovered?
It was a stereo photo,
Wow.
but there was a basically the only thing that was really in 3D was a burnt out stump that was up that he like put that, he framed that in the foreground, and maybe you could see a little bit of the foreground hills with some of the buildings, but the rest of it is pretty flat. But you can see across the river, and it's just all trees. You know, there's nothing really constructed except for this one white house. So, yeah.
Well, if we bring it next month, I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I'll bring it in. I'm sorry.
That's a real discovery.
It wasn't really high resolution, though. So, at least the one I was able to grab online. But yeah, I can bring that. This is in Port Angeles. There's an art institute up there that owns like a wooded area on top of a hill called Webster Woods, and they've turned it into a sculpture park. And so all throughout the woods, there's all these different sculptures, and this is just one of them. And I just took a picture of it because it kind of stood out. And this is a sculpture at a playground. It's called the Dream Playground, Play Park, something like that. And it's in the middle of Port Angeles. And they built it 2 years ago. A teenager burned it down last year, and they spent all last winter rebuilding it. And this didn't get burnt, though. This is a piece of a stump that got sculpted into.
And a lot of work.
Yeah, and sometimes that's how I feel when I've been looking at 3D for a few hours.
Yeah.
So that's all. Port Angeles. Oh, there it is. Okay, there it is. So that's the photo.
All right.
Oh, okay.
So there's a stump there on the right, and across the river on the left is the building.
Oh, okay. Now
That's the house.
remember that.
And
So, yeah.
I cross-referenced it with a map, a contemporaneous map, and also there were descriptions in the report, the National Register of Historic Places for the house, that it had been moved 12 blocks from the river up Stevens Street in 1902, and it was known. It was a well-known location because it was this bright white house on the side of the river, kind of by itself, right next to the entrance for the ferry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just so you know, what happens is every person's photo get shown in alphanumeric collating order.
Oh.
So if you want to force your photos to go in a certain order, 001, 002
Got it.
at the beginning, and then they will show in that order. Otherwise,
Got it.
whatever their file names, they
Yeah.
may not show in the same order that you sent them to.
Okay. Well,
They just for future
I'll get that next time for sure. So as far as this Watkins photographer, I think he stood in the same spot and did a panorama, stereo photo panorama with the same stump in the front, just looking in. There's like 4 of them maybe, looking all across the whole city. And he also has
is
some.
this a section of that panorama, like a stereo panorama?
He had stereograms, and this was just one of the stereograms. And he did several stereograms. So there's more buildings to the left, but as you can see, this is where OMSI is, and the Markham Bridge across the water.
Oh, okay.
And you can see Mount Tabor in the background.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a photo I saw of his. He's got one of a Native American fishing camp at the Dalles, and he has some of San Francisco from 1878, like before the earthquake when the city was pretty much destroyed. That had some really cool buildings, but I thought I was pushing it to bring these in, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Carlton Watkins was a pioneer They called them like pioneer photographers, early West,
Yeah.
as the West was colonized and settled.
3D Ansel Adams.
Yeah, okay.
Precisely, yeah.
Yeah. I think there was a Oregon Historical Society exhibit, wasn't there, Dave? Like that the club was kind of had some involvement with back when the 3D Center was still around.
I remember going to some place and seeing stereo cards, and then we went and took pictures of the same place in the stereo cards. But
That sounds kind of like it. Yeah. Yeah.
but they had thousands and thousands of stereo cards.
The Library of Congress online also has a collection of Carlton Watkins stereo views.
Okay.
Might be interesting for some of you to view.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, and Jasmine.
Let me unmute there. Okay. I just sent in this one photo. Although I have lots of photos from this little session here. I was out at Cannon Beach with my husband's family and staying at an Airbnb, and there's this empty lot across from our Airbnb, and all of these elks just came in and settled for the night, and it was just so magical to see them. But I really liked this photo I had taken, and so I just wanted to ask the group if there were any improvements I could do on this, or anything to tweak it to make it a little better.
You're going to have some outline violation up in the top, but you can fix that just by moving away. But
on the right side?
Yeah, the leaves of the what kind of tree is are outside of the window frame or the picture.
Oh, the palm tree, yeah.
A bit, yeah.
But not bad.
And you could probably just align them slightly to push everything back a little bit in Stereo Photo Maker.
Mm. Okay.
I like the way you framed the elk.
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of the greatest strengths of this composition. You might want to consider cropping out the two reclining elks on the left. Just to give the photo more balance and emphasize that unique framing.
Not kind of pulling to the left side. Yeah.
That's literally exactly what I was going to say.
That's helpful. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Very nice.
The backlit.
Yeah, I love how rich the green is.
Okay, it's not oversaturated?
No,
A little bit. Okay.
it just looks,
Very
right,
green.
like
Yeah.
okay, they like how green it is. That's why they came.
Yes.
It doesn't look over-processed to me.
Okay, great. Cool. Yeah, I was excited I got this shot, so I really wanted to really work on it, make it a little better.
Was this a W3?
Yeah, this is on the W3.
That'd be my guess.
Yeah.
Okay, so actually, before we go on to the selecting images for the folio, I'd like to remind people that, this section of the meeting, it has like a dual title. It's, open projector, but it's also show and tell. And David brought in something that basically I'll let David talk about it, and you can maybe come closer to the camera if you'd like to.
Okay, I'll talk first.
Okay.
This is what I took pictures of last time, and so I didn't bring the 3D pictures of it anyway. But my grandson is just like you. He's got a 3D printer, and he loves to make anything he can out of 3D. And this, I'll pass it around and take a look at it, and then I'll show it up there.
Yeah, I'll hold it up to the.
Right.
the
Did you see it, Carl?
No, not yet. I'd love to.
So what happens is there's different. It's all printed on white plastic, but it's different thicknesses. So the back is flat, and the front, try and get it so you can sort of see that the front,
Like a relief?
yes,
Yeah.
Or
yeah, it's a relief of the thing. And so basically, when you put it up to the viewer and hold the viewer up to the light, the thinner pieces transmit more light, and the thicker pieces transmit less light. And so,
Anyway, I don't know whether you can possibly see it. I had to build a viewer because you don't want the light shining on the thing, you want the light shining through the thing. So I had to build this viewer.
and when you put it in, do you put the textured side facing you or facing out?
The textured side is facing you.
In, okay.
In. Anyway, it was interesting. I had a picture of my grandson when he, and it was printed like this. It wasn't printed flat. It was printed vertically, and I suppose that was because it gave more accuracy at how thin they could have it. And I suppose it wouldn't stick to the bottom of the printer, 3D printer. And I don't know. Let's just if you
I
can.
doubt that. Yeah.
There. See
I
right
get
there.
the idea. That's actually. I can
Oh, well, you can see
really-
the picture. Yeah,
You
can
can't
see
see
that.
two of them because it's just one lens, but you can see that it's actually, black and white.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, right.
That looks cool.
And for the benefit of those here to see it, you can really see it.
And it is 3D.
And I took the picture. That matter of fact, that's his little sister,
Yeah.
my another grandchild, and about. Well, I think he said it took about 4 hours to
What?
print it, because it's really.
That is amazing.
And so that would make an interesting article for stereo views.
That looks exactly like a black and white 3D photo. I never would have guessed. Wow.
In the chat, Peter Homer defines it as a stereo lithopaint.
Litho paint.
That's new to me.
I don't know where you get the software. He just downloaded the software and used it on his printer.
And that's like ABS plastic,
Well, you could probably use ABS or PLA or any.
it's like Lego, the same stuff.
Well, ABS is one of the harder more difficult plastics to print.
Oh,
PLA is an easier plastic to print.
it's light and strong.
But yeah, I mean, basically, I've done prints in. So this, for example, is PLA.
Very interesting.
Wow.
How long did that take?
Boy, I don't remember. Essentially, it's like you don't have to be there watching it. So you set the printer up, you start it printing, and when it's done, it's done. And who worries really about? So this is. 3D print.
Interesting. That's nice.
Very nice.
And so anyway, I may have to experiment with that.
If you want to know what software, I can ask him.
Yeah, I'd be interested in knowing.
I wonder if the longevity of that material is longer than a
Photograph.
longer than a photograph maybe.
Well, I mean, some plastics, are probably very durable. ABS if you printed it in ABS, that's probably a longer lived plastic. PLA, one of the advantages of that is it's biodegradable.
Oh,
So I mean, I don't think it's going to biodegrade if you just have it here, but if it's in a landfill and it gets wet, and the heat from the sun and the cold from essentially in the environment, I think it will biodegrade. Okay.
Just a quick, I just sent him a black and white picture of that, exactly the same size, and he sent me that.
Okay.
Incredible.
And then the viewer, how did you? Where's the viewer? Is it? Yeah. Is it plastic or?
No, it's cardboard. I just bought some black poster paint, a poster board, and glued it all together.
And these are just. Is this a lens or just clear?
No, the lenses are lenses that I got from somebody. They had a little handle on it and a place to erase your nose.
Okay. Yeah, I think I know what.
Lorgnette.
I don't know who made them, but I could find that out if somebody wanted to know.
Yeah, no, I think I've seen them on Berezin.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta buy myself a new lorgnette.
Yeah, I think when you join ISU, you get the first one for free.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well, there's a reason.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, David. And so for the ISU folio, what we need to do is we need to select 10 images, no more than 2 from any one photographer. And those are contributed to the ISU folio slideshow, and basically we'll show the slideshow of. So what they do, I think there are probably about 21 clubs that participate. So they take about 7 clubs. The images from 7 clubs and create a video slideshow. So if there's 10 images from 7 clubs, that's about 70 images, and they break the thing into 3 parts and they just share it with all the clubs that participate. And so they don't award any medals or HMs for it. In other words, it's not that one image is better. It's an opportunity for each of the clubs to show off their best images. And so what we will do is select the images for the folio 34, and then we're going to show the first part of the folio 33 slideshow. So what I'm going to do is first I'm just going to go through all the images. There are a total of 24 images, so 4 images from each of 6 people, and this is just so you can sort of see what the selection of images are, and then we'll go back and you will be able to score the images. So this is the first image. And if I'm going too quickly, say something and I can slow down.
You're going too fast. I think I missed a couple of those.
Okay, let me just go back a couple. And I'll slow down. I apologize. It's hard for me to Okay. So, so hopefully you can just aim your camera at that and it will log you in. But if it doesn't, then you can basically log in manually using the information I've provided.
My phone said
Ye-
voting.3d.org, and I pushed on that, and it says Judge 1. Am I already logged in?
Yes, you are. And is it asking you for your name?
No.
Mine is
Mine is.
Okay.
number 5.
Okay.
I'm also judge number 1, and it did ask me my name.
Okay.
So mine probably isn't logged in.
Yeah, try. Okay, so this is basically the disadvantages of trying new software because it might be a bug. But I have Steve as Judge 1, Ken as Judge 2, Matt as Judge 3, Jasmine is Judge 4, Gary is Judge 5, Bob is Judge 6, David Ledoux is Judge 7, Carl is Judge 8.
Login, ISU. Boy. User saved password. I hate this. ISU, okay. ISU. Password is the same password it was last time.
You
Right.
could do it over again, couldn't he? Couldn't he just try it over a second time?
It might just do the same thing. I don't know.
Submit. ISU. I hate this phone.
Kind of small. Typing that step in on the phone is kind of tedious.
ISU.
Dave, maybe I can get you logged in.
Password. I'll start the I'll do the password is stereo 3D.
Stereo 3D.
3D stereo 3D name David. Submit.
And now you're Judge 9.
Okay.
So did everybody who wanted to be a judge get logged in?
Yeah.
Anyway, let me go on. Basically, you should be able to score the image now.
Refresh. Oh.
Please wait. This is
If it says please wait, try hitting refresh.
refresh.
All right.
Enter
Refresh.
judge.
Yeah, now it wants me to enter the judge name again, which I will do. Oh, you have a little thing, submit.
Refresh again.
And now we're back to please wait.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, refresh.
That likewise.
I'm having the same.
Oh well.
Please wait.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was my fault. I didn't hit start.
All right.
Okay. Now everybody should be able to put in a score. That was my fault.
Well, mine says please wait.
Try refreshing.
Okay, refresh. It says enter judge name.
Yeah. All right, then reset.
Judge number 1, please wait.
Mine just keeps asking for the judge name over and over, and I never hit submit.
Well, okay, so I guess we're gonna do this next month because I'll have to because I tested this with 2 judges and it worked, but basically Okay, well, one of the problems with software is there are bugs. So apologies. What we will do is I will see what the problem is and hopefully get this so it works next month. And so,
They still haven't invented a scoring system for stereo photography exhibitions, and I've looked. Someone needs to invent one.
well, the one that we were using last month before I put all these changes in seemed to work.
It did, yeah.
But I was just looking to make it easier.
Then that would have been great.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, I just, as I said, I wanted to get it debugged before the Cascade exhibition. So, in any case, I'll just give a if additional people want to enter this, I can open up the entries again. If any, so people who have already entered will use your entries next month. If additional people want to enter, we can accept additional entries. One of the advantages of entering a something like this is there's no entry fee, and if your image is not chosen to be part of the submission, then nobody is going to know who submitted it. I mean, I'm not going to reveal the name of who submitted it, so you don't have to be embarrassed. It's an opportunity to learn and improve your photos, as a very low penalty thing.
So you might want to set lower, because I didn't notice that.
I'll try it out. I didn't notice.
Yeah.
He's
That's
giving
why
me
I set down low.
Yeah, I think we're over, but.
Okay. So anyway, going. Oops.
It's always better.
So what I'm going to do is I'm now going to show the folio from 33. This is part 1, and so what I need to do is share my screen, and I need to share the sound, and I need to share this screen. And so let me just start it, and it should now play on the ETV.
That works.
saw about that picture with the lady holding a stereo viewer, there was no extension to it and there was no card in it. It was just the lenses, and that's all it was.
So, actually, a couple of more comments about the ISU folio. It is sponsored by the ISU. It is not sponsored by PSA. So PSA rules don't apply. It's not a competition. So as far as I know, there's no requirement for these to be originate photographically. As far as I know, conversions are perfectly okay. As far as I know, computer-generated animations are perfectly okay because this is International Stereoscopic Union. It doesn't say that this is in any way photographic, although photographs are, of course, very welcome. In contrast, there's another event that we enter, and that's the ISCC, and that is a PSA competition. And so PSA rules do apply. They must be photographic, they must originate photographically. Conversions are not permitted. And the ISCC actually is a competition where points are awarded to the clubs based on the entries that are submitted. So it's the ISCC, International Stereo Club Competition, is a competition between clubs. The ISU folio is simply an opportunity to exhibit our work. So as you saw, there are clubs from all over the world, although I think probably more than half are in the US, I'm not sure. But basically this was part one, so this was 7 clubs, 10 images from each club, and there's a part 2 and a part 3, and CSC is in one of those 2 remaining parts. I haven't watched them yet, so I don't know. But so basically, I think what I'd like to do is I'd like to encourage people to participate in these events because it's an opportunity to show off your work to other clubs, and it is an opportunity to get feedback based on how well your images do against other images from our club. So a couple of more things before we wrap up. This is the agenda for the July meeting. I'm going to have to put the selection of images onto the agenda for the July meeting since we found a bug today. The theme for July is creativity. And then this is the August meeting. And so in July we'll show part 2, and in August we'll show part 3 of the folio 33. And so at this point the meeting is officially over, but basically this is just a good time to basically socialize.
Yeah.
Mike, I assume you received that stereo views requested. Well, Mike's muted, so I don't know if he's actually still there.
Hey Herb, I wanted to say something I noticed in one of your photos from this evening of the old buildings. There was a theater, movie theater with a marquee, and Jack the Giant Slayer was on it, which I think dates that photo from 2013, I think it is. But this is actually, if you're a 3D movie buff as I am, this is I would call this an underrated title. It kind of disappeared, but it's actually a Bryan Singer film with Ewan McGregor. And I watched like half of the movie, and I thought, boy, they really found someone who looks a lot like Ewan McGregor for that role. And it was him.
So, is that...
So if you can find it, I picked this one up secondhand for $4, maybe 5 years ago.
Okay, I'll have to take a look for it.
Some movies are better in 3D, you know? I haven't actually seen that.
I don't remember that at all. Yeah.
Kind of came and went. 2012, 2013 was the 3D movie fad of that era was kind of heating up. We were getting a lot of kind of lazy conversions, some pretty bad titles that I think scared a lot of people away, and that might have been what happened to that movie.
Some of the best 3D in that era was in some of the worst movies.
Yes. That's the thing with 3D movies. There are great movies with bad 3D and bad movies with great 3D. It's all over.
And so my attitude is, you know, if I invest, you know, let's say $20, you know, $25 on a 3D Blu-ray, and it's terrible. It didn't cost me any more than my wife and I going to the theater and seeing a terrible movie. And so, you know, essentially, I've certainly seen some bad movies in theaters, so I basically figure if there's a 3D Blu-ray, I might as well buy it, because next year it might not be available anymore.
That's right, yeah.
And,
Okay.
Jim, were you saying something, or
Okay.
do you need to mute, or?
Thank you very much.
Herb, you had mentioned that there might be a good viewer for like the Stereo View newsletter and for that 30-year booklet.
So
like I don't really need one, but my family could use one.
yeah, so I respond.
You
but
did, but I was wondering.
should I can run up and get it so you can see what it is.
Yeah, I didn't just straight up buy it. I probably should have, but
Well,
anyway.
I mean, it's not going to be discontinued, but so it's not
going to.
Oh,
it's not. Okay.
So
right.
go ahead and talk, and I'll be back down. in a minute.
Hey, didn't mean to
Is he talking about the owl viewer? What viewer is he
I don't
going to show us?
No.
I don't know.
He emailed me and told me what it was. I don't remember now.
Okay.
I thought I'd have a look at it.
I got
an
an
owl viewer here. These are great for prints in books. This is from the London Stereoscopic Society. You can lay it on top of the page.
Did anybody join in with that lecture from London?
Yeah, I did. It was good.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Yeah.
Denny Kelleran always does a great job of researching the, he's got 200,000 stereo cards that's in the Brian May collection to choose from. And these are not just, your Keystone type cards. They're worth a lot of money, most of them. Yeah, I had a couple comments. First of all, I was really impressed with the ISU stereos tonight. Even though we didn't get to judge them, man, there were a lot of good ones in there. Way to go, guys.
Yeah, I thought so too. Very nice.
And I have a newbie question, I guess it is. I usually shoot with a W3, so I don't worry about what my deviation is that much, because I can't control it. So if you've got a scene that's got a definite foreground, middle ground, background, and you can adjust your cameras for your like 1/30th, Should your 1/30th be the middle ground or the foreground?
So 1/30th is the total deviation at infinity.
That's how I look at those
So,
infinity numbers.
So you want to do the background at 1/30? So you get depth of the
Yes,
background?
infinity should be at the 1/30, but the easier way to do it is to figure what is the closest subject and then calculate from that, because that's a lot easier to calculate than infinity.
Yeah, the closest thing should be 30 times the interocular
So what's
distance.
the closest?
Exactly.
Okay. That's what I've been doing, but then I questioned myself.
Okay, so anyway, to answer the question about the viewer, this is a viewer that folds up. I believe this is called a Pokescope. Yep,
Oh, yeah.
that's the
Well, it is.
one.
There you go.
So it folds up like this, it opens up like this, you look through there, and
Nice.
so
Okay.
You probably wanted a little further away than what.
Oh, yeah.
I think.
Thanks.
Yeah.
That's better. Okay. Well, that'll work.
Yeah, the lenses that this is another lens that has
Yeah,
a handle on it and it
yeah,
has a thing
yeah,
that rests on your nose.
yeah, that's the lorgnette, I believe, LORGNETTE.
I don't know what it. I've got
Yeah, I
five or
mean,
six of them.
search online and
Yeah,
Thank you.
okay.
that's nicer though, because you can adjust it a lot easier.
And you can transport it.
Yeah.
You can put it in your pocket too.
Yeah.
Keeps the dust
Okay.
out.
So
I have a book recommendation. I just got this book recently. It's called Earthquake Days. It's about the San Francisco earthquake and fire in 1906. It's full of stereo pairs. It's a really great book. It has a lot of information in it. And, Steve Berezin sells it on his site. And there are also used copies available on Amazon. And then I actually just bought this one from some used third-party person on Amazon. It was in great condition. So they have a lot of 3D stereo cards in it, and if you can see this, but they show the 3D at the bottom, and then they blow up to the left or the right, one or the other,
oh,
to show a bigger picture of it. So there's a lot of detail in the pictures, and there's a lot of text in the book. It has extremely good descriptions of what went on during the fire and everything.
okay, that's good to know. So actually, I had a question. There's been somebody on Photo 3D that's evidently selling new or maybe old new 3D TVs. It's not clear whether it's a new design or an old design that they've brought back to manufacture. And basically, you order it and they'll ship it to you from China. But if you then don't like it, I'm not sure what your options are. So I was wondering if anybody has either basically said, okay, I'm going to spring for it and see if it's any good, and if not, then yeah, it would just be nice to know if anybody's actually sprung for it. And what
He just reduced the price down to $2,900, or maybe it was $2,600. I can't remember now. Delivered US. I dealt with him, and I got this, which I've just put up here. I'll show you a stupid one of me. Just would stop my background. Where is it? Choose virtual background. Sorry. Well, look, I'll just hold it up. It's not going to work for me. How can I get rid of the...
Okay, so there should be a picture of a video camera, and then if you click on the up arrow next to the video background, you should be able to turn off.
Here it is. I've got it. That's right. Sorry. Background and effects. I still can't get rid of it. Video. I can't get rid of it. All right, look. You can't. There it is.
Yeah.
Now that's a 3D on the iPhone.
Mm-hmm.
That's it is a magic little invention. You perfect 3D and with little ghosting and only barely visible little check marks instead of lenticular.
Mm-hmm.
And it all works by covering with a screen protector, a glass screen protector that they sell you, and a program, and all your 3D on your iPhone, including movers. And that's $90. And I found dealing with him very good. But the problem is, when you talk about the TV, and he's been reminding me to buy one, you get it, and certainly in Australia, you get it. What are you going to do with it if it goes wrong? I'm not even talking about returns.
Yeah.
Where you're going to get some diagrams and someone to repair it if something goes wrong. The answer is it's very difficult. And this operates on Android 6, and not on the latest Android. And it is a 65-inch, and if the 3D is like the one that I've got here, it's going to be a great 3D, but you take a huge risk. And it is with Polaroid glasses, of course, real 3D glasses.
Yeah.
He also sells eye tracking without glasses, a number of tablets and also TVs, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure that for TV, eye tracking is the right technology, because if you want to watch it with friends, then, you know, eye tracking is not the way you want to go. But
the last little I saw that he had about that was that it does multiple eye tracking.
Wow.
Depending on what you know.
Yeah, no,
I can't tell you how good this is. It is amazing. It's as good as having, a 3D phone in your hand, but this is an iPhone.
Yeah.
Is there a name for that product? Is it available only for him?
Yes, I can look. While you keep talking, I can't find the details about it. I'm just going to see what I can find. But there is, yeah. And I'll just have to go. So don't wait for me. It might take me a few minutes to find.
Yeah, Josh Goldberg, or whatever his name is, has a YouTube channel and he's selling those. And he has reviews of that 65-inch TV on there too.
The guy is Penghua Zhu, and he's with Promar, I think. His address is export at JS3D, export at JS3D.cc for China. Now, he is very responsive, speaks English, and I can tell you, it was $99 US shipped, and easy to take off the old screen protector, put on the new one, and it was fantastic. A real surprise at how good it was. The software is less than excellent, but it works, but it's a pain. But it's pretty good. I recommend it. If you want a way to show people 3D, and perfect 3D, they can see it straight away because it uses the iPhone eye tracking to show them 3D. So, yeah. Good stuff.
Oh, thank you.
I'm
on their website right now. They have lots of products.
Yes, you'll see a load of stuff, including the TVs, the one that he's talking about, and the TVs and tablets. And he also has the same thing that the American guy is selling, who's got his stereo, I can't give his name, but I'm starting with B. What's his name? It's still stereo.
Berethin.
Yeah, him. They've got one of those too, one of those lens things. stereoscopic, you know, a dual lens, two verticals. And also, they have a plug-in monitor, so while you're taking it, you can see the picture you're taking, 3D.
I put the link in the chat for anyone else who's interested.
Thank you, Matt. Yeah, so, I mean, basically, my thinking on this is the following. Anybody who has an LG TV, there's some chance, hopefully small, that it might die. And if it does die, how are you going to get it repaired? Now, I know of one person, a Stereodoro, her LG TV died. I think she did manage to get it repaired. But, you know, the point is, it's not unheard of for these things, you know, to die. And if it dies, what are you going to do? And so, you know, if you have if you buy, you know, one of the TVs from this guy, it might die, it might not, it might be a spare. Is any of the other major manufacturers ever going to start selling 3Ds again, TVs again? Is this guy going to have, you know, not very much interest and stop selling it, you know, 6 months from now? You know, it's sort of like, okay, you know, what's the balancing point? And so, you know, I mean, looking back now, what my thinking is, at the time I bought this LG TV, maybe it would have been smarter for me to replace every TV in my home with one of those LG TVs. You know, and then if one or two of them died, I'd still have a third. But
what about
I've got my LG mounted.
So, okay, I want to go back to that in a second, Matt. You asked what about projectors? Projectors are very nice, but they require a darkened room. So if we were going to have a meeting like this and you put it in a darkened room, the people on Zoom can no longer see you. Okay? But basically, yes, those, you know, especially if you spring for a very, you know, high-end, you know, projector, you know, a very bright projector, you can really set up a nice theater.
I always had that in the back of my mind, knowing that my TV is on its last legs, you know.
So maybe you need to buy one of these and let us know how it works.
I need to take a picture of that link.
Oh, okay.
I'm not on the chat.
I'll tell you what, email me after the meeting and ask me to send you the chat.
Thanks.
Yeah, I've got 3 projectors.
Yeah,
One actually drives glasses, and the other you have to put, you know, polarizers in front of them. But they don't do 19 or 1080 or they don't do the resolution it ever has down.
Yeah. So I'm sorry I cut Matt off before. So go ahead, Matt.
I was just going to say, I've mounted my LG to the wall out of fear that it's going to get knocked over or something. However, the Golden Gate Club has a 55-inch LG 3D that we keep in a box. We toured with it for years. We throw it in the back of a car. We set it up. We break it down. We haven't broken it yet. So have some faith that these LG passive 3D TVs seem to be well made. We really have used ours, and it's still going strong. So knock on wood, but you know, hopefully that'll be the case for everyone's 3D TV on this meeting.
Well, mine's what, 5 years old or more, 7 75-inch one.
Yeah.
And it's going strong. But we use it as our general TV, so I'm not holding out too much hope. Really it should be retired to just for 3D, but it's large, and you're finding a space for 75-inch TV somewhere else in the house is pretty difficult.
Yeah, and the thing is that there are certain limitations. In other words, like if you're using, these OLEDs, how long are the pixels going to last? In other words, at some point, what happens is, the rate at which pixels die. I mean, if there's one bad pixel, you won't even notice it. But if there, start being groups of bad pixels that are, close to one another, then it might be noticeable. And, it's like, the thing is, because the polarization layer is built right into the display, it's not even like you could replace the display and use the same 3D electronics. So it's like, essentially we're all saying, okay, our, TVs are 5 years old and they're still going strong, but what are we going to be saying in 2 years? And I don't know I don't know the answer. I don't know if anybody knows the answer.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. I'm 85, so I'm not going to worry about it many years. Hey, I was telling him, I'm 85, and I'm not going to worry about it too many more years, frankly.
Live in the present.
Yeah.
With the projectors, those short throw projectors are sort of attractive, but I know when you put two together, the idea of that they've got those short throw, which is only that distance from screen to the lens. Could you reckon you could put two together and put Polaroid?
So what you'd want is what's called a polarizing modulator. So if you use a projector that has active 3D and hook it up to a polarizing modulator, now you can view it with a real D glasses.
What are the chances of finding a polarizing modulator?
I think they're probably good if money isn't an object. Okay, so let me give you a little bit of background. A few of us in Cascade Stereoscopic Club, both me and Mark Wilkie, purchased the consumer grade polarizing modulators several years ago. The serial numbers on both of ours were under 20. Okay, so that gives you an idea of how many of them they ever sold. Okay, my understanding is, nobody ever specifically told me that they manufactured one batch of them, and when they sold out of that batch, that they never made any more because it wasn't a profitable thing. However, it's the same technology that's used in any 3D movie theater. Okay? So they still make them for movie theaters. Now, the consumer ones, they're limited in how much power you can use. So if you have a very high-powered projector, you're going to overheat it, and you can't use the consumer ones. The commercial ones can take, enormous power because they're made for commercial theaters. But my understanding is, if you have to ask how much it is, you can't afford it. But they still make them.
It's interesting you say that, because just at the last meeting of the Melbourne Stereo Society, someone brought along an LG cinema projector with one lens, all built in, and showed it operating. So I presume that must have it built into it as an LG. It was doing 3D with not real 3D, but the other one, the opposite.
The shutter glasses?
No, not the circular, or whatever it was, not the parallel ones, I think. Circular Polaroid that the Viewmaster projector uses.
Okay.
I think different type of Polaroid. So it was working, we had the glasses there, it worked very well. He picked it up for $1,000 Australian, which is, about 600 US. So he, apparently you can find these sort of things on the second-hand market. So what is it called? A polarizing, what did you say?
Polarizing modulator.
Polarizing modulator. I'll keep one of those.
Okay, and you can actually do a search online, and you'll probably find the commercial ones. But basically, what happens is it uses the same signal that is sent to the glasses to, in other words, to know which eye, and it basically it uses liquid crystal color shutters. In other words, to alternately switch the polarizing, and it's a very fast switching circuit that basically keys off the signal that's sent to the glasses.
Fair enough. Let me go. Have a look for it. See what happens. Yeah.
Hello, Mike. Welcome back. I assume you got your no audio.
Yeah, the polarizers, those modulators are the same thing as the glasses. It's the same special liquid crystal fast switching cell, but they have lots of heat removing thing for the big projector, so that they don't melt the.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I hadn't thought about it. That makes sense. It's, obviously the glasses need to alternate, shutting on and off, so the polarizing modulators are doing the same thing as the glasses are doing.
Yeah, same technology. It's a little more sophisticated, but same technology.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm going to go off and have some lunch. It's a bit late.
Okay.
Hey, I'm going to go off and have some dinner.
I'll see you later. Thanks very much. See you.
Thank you all. Thank you, Herb, and I'll see you next month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good night, all.
Take care. See ya.
Great meeting.
Thanks, everyone.
I'll talk to you more about possibly writing a.
Okay.
I'm not a good writer, but I'll
Okay.
talk to you.
And don't forget to put the glasses back.
Yes. Don't forget that, and don't forget this. The older you get, the more you forget.
So, Mike, is your audio working? Okay. Did you get that stereo views I sent you? Nod. Good. Okay. So, anyway, if anybody wants the chat, save the chat before you leave the meeting, and I'm happy to hang around if there's anything else. Otherwise, thanks everyone for attending. And Jim Olson's back. Hello, Jim.
Oh, hi, Herb.
Yeah, I was just about to end the meeting, but if you have anything else, I can hang around.
Well, I'm going to the convention in Kansas. Wondering if anybody else is.
Yeah, I don't know who, if anybody, is going.